Tell the story about how they wanted you to have a Hitler Youth uniform, and you almost didn't want to go back to school. Remember, you came.
No, I was in a boarding school, you know,
Yes.
in a Catholic boarding school, and in '33, you know, when I went on vacations, our teacher, who was a priest even, said the whole, we had a youth organization, a Catholic youth organization, the whole organization is going over to the Hitler Jugend, you know. And I said, no. I went home and said, I know that my father wouldn't agree. I said, now I should go back to the school, and they're all in the Hitler Jugend. And I don't want to go. And at this time, my father had a business friend in Kaiserslautern. He was a Jew. And he was there, and he told him my problems, you know, going back to school. And the Jew said, well, he should go, he has to have some good people in the Hitler Jugend as well, you know. And he gets just the uniform for me. And I got my first Hitler Jugend uniform from this Jew.
What was his name? Wasn't his name Aaron?
Aaron, Frank. Einer was Frank and Aaron was a company. Two Jews.
That's before you knew what was going on.
Oh, sure.
Yes. And this is 33.
You see, coming from a good Catholic family, and my mother was absolutely against Nazis, you know. So I didn't want to be a Nazi, you know, but I didn't want to be outcast in the school. And then the Jewish friend of my father, he said, he should go to Hitler. You must have some good people there as well.
So you need to
and he gets the uniform he gets from me.
He made the uniform that weekend.
He was a factory head for.
So you went to school and you wore the uniform.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Nothing. I just went to school.
But didn't the youth movement, didn't they enlist you into the service? Didn't they force you to do stuff?
No, but once you were there, you were in, you know. And you could do whatever you right now. Our Nazi leader, you know, he was a good friend of mine, you know. He never would have touched me, you know, so.
Well, that's what a lot of Jews said.
Yeah.
It happens.
People who can't understand in a small village like that, they were Nazis naturally, you know, but they're very separate. The other people tried to
distance themselves. They tried to stay neutral.
You see, my mother, she was really a strict anti-Nazi, and she certainly, I'm convinced, if the leader of the things wouldn't have a good friend of her, she would be in the cassette. She would no more be alive, you know. Certainly not. And she went everywhere and stuff what she wanted, you know. And this Nazi chap, his wife formerly was a laundry keeper in our household. And so he didn't dare for him. My mother was somebody above, you know, and they always protected her, you know. And without him, she would be.
But it could have gone the other way. He could have said to himself, he could have said, "Wow, now I can show her. You know, this used to be, this woman used to be my wife's boss. I'm gonna."
If this chap wouldn't have an inferior complex against my mother, he would have brought her
she would have been in a concentration camp.
So you went to medical school.
What?
This is when you went to medical school that you wore the uniform.
By the time you went to what year did you start medical school?
When I went to the university, nobody asked what if you were at a party or not.
Okay.
No, that.
And so, where did you go to medical school?
Yeah.
What year did you start medical school?
Right before the war. That was 36.
Or 36.
So 33 to 36 when...
You finished high school.
And that's when you wore the uniform.
Yeah.
And then...
I didn't wear the uniform, only
for the...
parade.
Oh,
normally I didn't wear it.
Well, you didn't wear it in school, you wore it for the parades. It's like the ROTC uniform.
Right, for the events that they had.
Events.
Yeah.
It's the 1st of May. The organization of the students had to go to a parade.
Did you ever,
then you have to have the uniform.
Did you ever see Hitler personally?
Sure.
You did? You heard him talk? Yeah?
We all were laughing, you know, when he was there. I had an uncle. He was general, commanding general in Kaiserslautern. And at this time, the Nazis built up the West Wall, you know, the wall against France, you know. And Hitler several times came to inspect the wall, you know. And my uncle always had him lead around, you know.
He had to lead him around, yeah.
And so this once I had to the poem or something, and I saw Hitler. You know, I was traveling with Hitler, going around the West Wall to inspect everything.
Wow. Do you remember anything that he said to you personally?
He didn't say anything to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything.
So you decided you'd go to school, to medical school, and you went to medical school, and that took 4 years, 3 years?
When was it? 36. Yeah. And then I went to Heidelberg, you know.
Yeah, but you were mobilized too while you were still in medical school.
First I was to Heidelberg as a student.
Yes, as a student.
And then I was soldier, you know. I have been before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was called, when the war started, they called me in again. But then they discharged all the medical students.
So that they could finish.
That they could study
so
again,
that they could
you know.
finish their studies.
And I was paid by the government, you know, as a soldier. You know, I was, at this time I was a sergeant or something, you know. I got the salary as a sergeant.
While you finished medical school?
I could go to university.
And then didn't you go to Berlin?
But
didn't you go to Berlin? Didn't you go to
this was only a girl. She studied there. I had a girlfriend, and she not a medical student. She was language, so, and she missed any things, and then she went to Berlin because she couldn't go on in Heidelberg anymore, you know. Mm-hmm. So I followed her to I could study wherever I want, if there was any university. She always went to Berlin, so I was poor. And then, right at the beginning of the war, most universities were closed. Heidelberg, which I belonged to, so I had to go to Munich, because Munich was open, you know.
So then, from Munich you went to Berlin?
What?
So after Munich you went to Berlin? No. Heidelberg, Berlin?
First was Heidelberg, then Munich. Then because of this girlfriend,
Berlin. To
Berlin. And then when this was out with the girlfriend, you know, she belonged to the high society of Berlin, you know. Her uncle was Siemens.
Oh.
Yeah. So And I was just a GI or a sergeant with I only had my army uniform, you know, so I could go up with her and with Siemens family. And so I went to Heidelberg again. You know.
Oh, back to Heidelberg.
That was like when I made my finals in Heidelberg.
So you were a sergeant?
I was working first, and later on I was what we call the Feldunterarzt. That was a rank above a sergeant, you know, and just below lieutenant. That was the only me during the war. We were called Feldunterärzte. That was a bit thing between sergeant and lieutenant, you know.
And you were how old then? 19, 20?
No, older. He finished high school when he was 19.
What?
You finished high school in Germany. You finished high school when you're 19, and then you must have been in your 20s. You must have been 20.
Ich habe 37 mit 19 Abitur gemacht.
Right. So in 38, you were 20 years old because you're born in 1918.
Yeah.
So he was 18 when he finished high school. So he was in his 20s, or 20.
And then came medical school. Let me switch it from this side.
There was medical school, and always you had to go to the front again. I was in Russia, and then I was in Tromsø, in Norway, a soldier, you know.
Well, you were in Stalingrad.
But between you always could study, you know.
Yeah. But you were in Stalingrad and you got hurt, and that's why they called you back.
Yes.
And that's how. And then
I wasn't Russia. I got a little insurance with normal. Normally I wouldn't have come back to the front, but then they just opened a train for wounded, wounded soldiers, and they had no doctor to travel with them.
Oh,
and
so
you had a small nurse, but at least you go as have to accompany this train.
You had to go on the train and help bring the wounded soldiers back.
And
That's
so
how
I
you
came
back here.
I landed in Rüdesheim.
Oh.
It's the best place I could land, you know. It's a wine region, and it was, and then I had to wait, you know. Then was called again to join the army, and I thought I had to go to Russia. But they sent me instead of Russia, it was in Rostov. They sent me to Norway. Yeah?
And that's why you survived the war.
What?
That's why you survived the war. You wouldn't have survived the war in Russia.
None of them. We were about medical officers, about 20 or 25, and they all had to go to Russia. And I was the only one, I don't know why I went.
You're the only one that made it out.
And all the rest, except me, were killed in the last year of the war. None of them
made it.
Yeah. But they were all good friends of mine, you know. None of them survived.
So there you were. The war was over.
And it started again.
And then what?
What?
What happened then?
I went to Heidelberg and studied.
Oh, you didn't finish medical school until after the war?
What?
You didn't finish medical school till after the war?
No, right before.
Right before.
But no more in Russia, you know.
But, okay.
So you got your experience of triage, taking off soldiers from the trains.
Sure.
Wow. Learning.
They had a long train from, they came from Vitebsk, you know, in Russia. And he collected all the wounded, serious wounded soldiers from all regions in Russia. And they were obliged to apply a medical officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had these small things which normally I wouldn't have come over to the next side and then finish back again, you know. And then they called me to accompany this train, this wounded soldier. So I ended up in the Rüdesheim.
Lucky.
And that was my, that was saving my life, you know. Then from Rüdesheim I came up to Tromsø in North Norway.